Hello, hello, hello. Today we're going to learn how to create a double exposure. If you want to follow along with these specific images, you could download them from Unsplash, link in the description. So first things first, we don't want any sort of background on it which isn't our own. So we're going to mask the subject out. How could you do that? Well, you could go to the pen tool, create a very precise selection, and then create a vector mask. But that'll take ages. Or you could go to the lasso tool and do a less precise pixel-based selection, but again, that would take quite a while. So, what could we do instead? Well, if you come over here and press the shortcut W, you get to either the object selection tool, quick selection tool, or magic wand tool, depending on what's selected. Neither really, it doesn't matter which one you're using, because we're not exactly using the tool. You can, they're great tools, other than the magic wand tool, but in our case, we're just gonna click the select subject button, and Photoshop will calculate which area is the subject, which area is the background, and it does a pretty good job for quick selections, and sometimes, if the background isn't very crowded, it does an excellent job where you don't need to refine it, like in this case. Next, I'm going to click the layer mask button, and we've removed the background completely non-destructively. So, if you ever change your mind with the layer mask, that let's say you wanted to bring the area back, well, with white as the foreground color, you could shade over it and the area will come back, or with black as the foreground color, you could remove it. That's the benefit of working non-destructively. So this next step is completely optional, but if you would like a black and white double exposure, come down here to the adjustment layers button and press black and white. This way your subject is now black and white. We only want the black and white layer to affect our subject, and not any elements we put underneath it afterwards, so we're going to create a clipping mask. We can do this by holding Alt, and if you hover between the layers, you can see this sign pop up. This is the create clipping mask button. So just press and you've got a clipping mask. Now, no matter what's underneath it, let's say the Budapest photo I'm using, it will not turn black and white. Personally, I'm not a big fan of having a black and white subject, so I'm just going to leave it. What I'm going to do with this Budapest photo next is I'm going to also create a clipping mask onto the subject, and then I'm going to change the blend mode to lighten, and you're pretty much close to being finished with your double exposure. In some cases you may be already finished, but we need to create a layer mask, and let's bring back some of the subject. So with soft round brush and low flow, if you've got a pen tablet, you can also use pen pressure, and with black as the foreground color, if black and white aren't your foreground and background colors, you can press this button or D to reset it. And on the layer mask, I'm just gonna shade over the face to bring it back, and some of the hair as well. I'm gonna create a soft sort of look. I'm going to do it somewhere on the left shoulder as well. So you've got some sense of double exposure rather than complete one thing or the other with very tiny sections popping through. We've got the typical double exposure look with the faces as well and the landscape popping through. Okay, what next? Well, this white background just doesn't suit the double exposure, so what are we going to do? We're going to go down to the adjustment layers and create a solid color. Now, make sure your eyedropper tool is not on point sample, because if there's any noise in your image or hotspots, then it could badly affect your selection. So what I would do, I would go to 3x3 average or 5x5 average, and select an area sort of like, I like that area, so I'm going to do that, and then press OK when you're happy. Now this part is another completely optional step. You could stop here, but I want to jazz up the background. So I'm going to press Ctrl and J, duplicate the landscape layer, and I'm going to drag it all the way below the subject. I'm going to delete the layer mask because we don't need it delete the layer mask, not the layer, because I don't need it anymore. And there we go. I'm going to slightly lower the opacity because I don't want it that high. And here we are. This is your double exposure. Now you color grade it, add contrast, do whatever you want. And this is how it would look if you had the black and white subject. Like I said earlier, I'm personally not a fan of it. I like the color, so I'm gonna leave the black and white layer unchecked. And here we are. I hope you learned a lot from this tutorial. If you have any questions, leave it down in the comments below, and like and subscribe for more great tutorials like this one. And most importantly, I hope you have a nice day.